Matchday 38 Picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is offering plenty of markets this week for the PGA Championship that you can't find anywhere else. Sign up with our code PLGP to claim your special pick and first-time deposit. Offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Thursday, the 16th of May, and we are here to handicap the full slate of Sunday action, Matchday 38, the final day of the Premier League season. Anything can happen. Well, I say anything. A couple of things can happen. Joining me, it's very exciting, is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Baz, how you doing?
Yeah, there are still a few things on the wire on Sunday. It's not quite as a dramatic a finish as we thought it was going to be a few weeks ago when we had a 3-horse title race. We had 5 teams in a relegation hunt. Both of that's, well, not quite settled. Obviously, yesterday or the last couple of days have ensured nothing is quite settled just yet. So we've still got the title race up for grabs. 6th to 8th is still up for grabs. The battle for Europa Conference and Europa League is the most exciting things going on in our lives this weekend. And intriguing, really, because I think when you look at those 3 teams, Chelsea, Man U, Newcastle, they've all got games of a similar sort of nature where, could win, lose, draw. So 6th to 8th is wide open for all 3 of those teams. Could come in any combination, really. So a few things to hang on to. But generally, we'll look forward to this last day because it's usually full of goals. A lot of teams playing with the shackles off because there's no pressure. A few games on here that look like that, they could have that potential because, 2 teams playing with not a lot to play for. But we'll get to that. We'll find all the fancy stuff. And we've done it a little bit different today, Mal. We've got a few extra picks, haven't we? With it being the final one, you said, why not pick a main pick? And then we'll pick something a bit more extravagant. Now, extravagant for me was like 4 or 5 to 1. So you've just told me you've gone absolutely nuts on some of yours. And I know you put on Twitter, you found a nice 1,000 to 1 double. So I'm intrigued to see what sort of stuff you've pulled out. I've still tried to pick some winners. But I have got a sensible pick for each game and then a little bit more of an ambitious one. So we've got plenty to put out. I've got ladders. I've got scorer trebles. I've got cards trebles. Stay till the end and we'll throw all of it out at some point.
Well, it's a great day for betting because all the games are at the same time, for one. So you can sit with your slip printed out and tick shit off. You can lay it out with your pint and tick shit off as it happens. And the books offer different markets as well. They offer some novelty markets, total goals and stuff like that. The books are quite keen to get involved as well. So, I've got anything ranging from 5 to 6 to 1,156 to 1 and all the prices in between, but I'll start in the chat just because it's absolutely buzzing and was before we started here. Austin was first in. Austin gets in the MLB show a few nights a week. The Backus family, I knew they'd be here. We'll get on to that in a minute. Below Average Cook is first in. Below Average Cook has got a rack of lamb going, Baz. And if you didn't know, Below Average Cook, Baz is the big barbecue man. Baz barbecues everything, all day, every day, forever. So, 70-degree day in Wisconsin for Below Average Cook. And he's got his rack of lamb on the grill. Callum,
Below Average Cook sounds above average to me, Malcolm. He's just told us his rack of lamb's going low and slow with olive oil, salt, pepper, rosemary, garlic. I got a little bit of a twitch reading that, Malcolm. I think he sounds like an above average cook to me.
Yeah, I reckon so. Lloyd O is lurking as well. So, a couple of things to mention. Obviously, there's 3 games this week. I think the first thing to mention is I will throw out our commiserations to Pat because Norwich City have just finished getting absolutely twatted. They were never in it. 4-0, they got beat. It was 2-0 after 20 minutes. Leeds could have scored 1,000 goals tonight. So, yeah, unlucky there. Leeds move on. West Brom Southampton is tomorrow night. And then, yeah, Premier League, we saw... I mean, the Tottenham City game was not weird in itself, because it was a game of football between a half-decent side and a really good side. And the really good side won 2-0. And the half-decent side maybe could have scored the odd goal, made a couple of chances. But the whole thing around it is absolutely insane. We haven't got that much time, Baz, to get into it, but Ange has lost his marbles. The Tottenham fans have lost their marbles. The Arsenal fans have lost their marbles. It's all a little bit odd.
It was bizarre. It was a really, really strange game to watch. And first thing, congratulations to Villa, who have now wrapped up fourth as a result of that. A really good season for them, and we've been sort of rooting for me. It's good to have another team in the top four, like it was for us last season. I'm happy for Villa to be there this year. Anyone pushing the usual big six out of that spot is good for me. So I'm happy for Villa. But the game was bizarre because the atmosphere was like it was played at an empty stadium in the first half. Because Spurs fans were not... even when they attacked, they went through on goal at 0-0 at one point, and there was just a little... like nobody cared that they just missed. And then they only started singing when it went to 1-0. And it was strange. I get it from Spurs' point of view. I understand why their fans weren't bothered about losing the game. I think they probably thought fourth was gone anyway. But I can see Andrew's point as well, in that fourth was still there. And if the fans are behind you, maybe that makes a difference. But it was very, very strange. I mean, singing, "Oh, you're watching Arsenal" as you're getting beat 2-0 was just bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. So very strange. And then, yeah, very odd from Postecoglou. I don't know what Postecoglou expected around the game. I don't think
he can think whatever he wants, but he probably should have kept it to himself. Because ultimately, what he says isn't going to change anything. And I just don't know why he needed. But he's been like that all season. He's sort of immediately after the game, heart on his sleeve kind of character, isn't he? So that's fair enough.
Funny enough, I was thinking, I don't know what to make about it. When he came in, and I sort of had comparisons to when Klopp first come to the Premier League. He felt like a breath of fresh air, someone who would speak his mind, be quite open. But already I'm starting to look at it and think, is he just a bit of a miserable fucker? Because you'd listen to him after the games and it's like head down, mumbling away. Like he looks like a beaten man all the time. Like I don't know. I don't know what to make of him. Jury's out for Ange. He could be heading for the tit list very soon. Who knows?
I quite like him. And there's something about Australians that I find quite endearing, Baz. Quite like their attitude in general.
It's just the way they say mate after everything.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
There was a part of me, man, watching at that game thinking, you're looking at the live table as it was 0-0 still, thinking this would set up a great final day. Now, we've made no secret of the fact we don't want Arsenal to win the league. But had it finished a draw, there were level points, Arsenal ahead by 3 goals, and then goal differences massively in play. And you could have had Man City and Arsenal both going hell for leather Sunday with goal difference on the line and stuff like that. But we didn't quite get there. And I think everybody now expects City will wrap it up on Sunday.
Fuck them. I was just happy they got beat. Chelsea was a good pick to beat Brighton. We took that at plus money. And then we've got quite a lot to get to tonight, so we haven't really got any time to talk about. There's another game this week, Man Utd, Newcastle.
Can we talk about the VAR decision, Malcolm? Well, VAR, I just wanted to mention very briefly.
What's to talk about, Baz?
No, it was more of the general thing of yesterday. It was announced that there will be a vote amongst Premier League clubs as to whether they scrap VAR from next season. Wolves put the sort of proposal forward and it'll be voted on next month. My point of view, it'll get voted down. The chief executives will sit there and they'll make a decision unilaterally without looking at players, without talking to managers, without talking to fans. They'll just make a decision. 20 blokes in a room will sit there and they'll probably have the PGMOL come in and big it up and say, we're going to be better. We're going to do better. Like they said when Howard Webb came in, we're going to get better. It'll be better next season. And it won't be better. but we'll still have it. But I think if every one of them clubs who's got a vote on it, if those 20 clubs come out to their fans and say to the fans, how do you want us to vote here? VAR would be gone. That would be the end of it. But I don't think it'll happen. I don't think there's any chance it'll happen. They'll all sit there and they'll come out and say, we've voted it down because we think it's going to get better. And it'll be the same shite next year. That one was... I think Gordon summed it up last night, didn't he? He said, well, what is there to say? He says, I didn't even appeal for the penalty. I understand the ref doesn't give it, but I'm sitting there saying to the lads, well, it's fine. It's a pen, so we'll get it. And then you don't. And he said the same, didn't he? He said, get rid or get better. And they'll tell us it's going to get better, but it won't.
Yeah, that vote will not go through, absolutely. The chairmen are just all shitting themselves that something happens to them and they get kicked out of a multi-million-pound league as a result. Newcastle, bad defending, bad finishing, bad refereeing. And as I explained, something terrible will happen, and it did a few times. I didn't see if my Garnacho bet hit or not. I saw he had a couple of shots in the first half.
How many did you need? I assume you needed 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you only had 2.
Okay.
He was shite. He was shite again, Malcolm. I told you he was shite.
I went in the back garden and just started launching slugs over the back fence in a rage. That was my coping mechanism in the second half. So if there's any slugs listening, I apologise because I did launch quite a few of you. Quite a long way, actually, Baz. I think I might have broken a record. Right, we're going to get stuck into these games because we've got a gazillion picks to give out. We are running a Mega Memorial Day merch sale. That was alliteration. 15% off everything in the merch store. Promo code SGPN May. You can get this hat for a start. Have a look. NYRA. That the second duel of the Triple Crown. I've just finished the Preakness show with Sean and Ryan, so track that down. Sign up today for a $200 deposit bonus with the promo code SGPN200 just in time for the Preakness. That is SGPN200 at nyrabets.com. We've got the Black Eyed Susan Day at Pimlico on Friday, so you can boost your Preakness bankroll with NYRA bets opt-in and bet at least $150 each on Belmont at the Big A and Pimlico on Friday for a $30 bonus, win or lose. You can get $200 on Saturday. If you bet $200, you'll get a $40 bonus, win or lose. And there's a $20 bonus on your ticket winnings by hitting an exacta on all races at Belmont at the Big A on Sunday. Get your bonuses at nyrabets.com/SGPN200. And Underdog Fantasy, the NBA playoffs are here. The easiest place to play fantasy sports. Pick your players, select higher or lower on their stats. You can mix and match your sports. Underdog is available in 30 plus states, including California, Texas, and Canada. And they just launched Champions, their player versus player format in Florida. Our code is PLGP to claim your special pick and first-time deposit up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. So all the games are 4 o'clock on Sunday, which is 11 a.m. Eastern time. And the first up, do you want to go in a certain order, Baz? I'm just going alphabetical here. Do you care?
I went in whatever order the bookmakers went on the card, which I assume is alphabetically. I've definitely gone off. Yeah, I've got mine are alphabetical as well, yeah.
Arsenal taking on Everton. Arsenal are 4-25, minus 625. The draw is 6-1. Everton are out at 16-1. So a couple of game scripts here, really. There's a few games here where you've got bits and bobs to factor in. There's other games where it could just be an absolute free-for-all. And this one is Arsenal are very dependent on Manchester City. There's a couple of different game scripts. If Man City are 3-0 up after 20 minutes, Arsenal could just down tools. Now, we've picked a sensible pick and a mad pick for every game. And I want to point out they're not related. Some of them, they're not correlated. A lot of the times, they both can't win. All right, so don't start throwing any shit at me. The pick I like, my sensible pick, and I love this pick actually, Baz. It's one of my favourites of the day. Is the first half to be the half with the most goals, and that's 15-8 plus 187. Because Arsenal just trap out and go for it, and at a point where they realise the effect when Man City are 4-0 up, they could just wrap in then the last half an hour could just play out in testimonial fashion. Everyone just stood down passing it round in the sunshine on Sunday. So I like the first half to have the most goals. So that's a legitimate, genuine angling. My big pick is going to be really straightforward, Baz. It's Everton to win. It's 16-1. Because there's two angles in here. A, they could just win. That's the first angle. The second angle is that Man City are up heavily so early, Arsenal just get the hump, pack it in, and Everton can nick it. Everton they're a team who are capable of mangling a game and going and winning 1-0. 16-1's a big price, Baz, but yeah. First half most goals, 15-8, plus 187. And if we're going wild, we'll take Everton to win, 16-1.
Yeah, I've got nothing as wild as that, as any of mine. But I've got two picks in every game anyway, so I'll keep this one quite short. I don't see Arsenal slipping up, but 1-5 it isn't always easy to find a pick. But we've got the Premier League's best defence against the second worst attack in the league, and we've got Arsenal who've just kept 7 clean sheets in the last 9 league games. My first thought was both teams to score no, because Everton's defence has also been good lately. They've had 5 clean sheets in the last 7 games. But all of that's come at home. They're away from home here, and I don't really see it being Everton that keep the clean sheet. I do think both teams to score no looked all right, but realistically, my thought is that if it happens, it's going to be Arsenal keeping the clean sheet. So I'm going to take Arsenal to win to 0 over Everton at evens. As I say, 7 clean sheets in the last 9 games gives us some good form for that. My long shot here, and it's not a long shot at all compared to yours, it's just a slightly bigger price than my main pick. But it's under 2.5 goals at 5-2. Everton games have gone under in 5 straight games. Arsenal games have gone under in 2 of 5. So Arsenal went under against Man Utd and Wolves. I think 5-2 is a big enough price to take the unders here, under 2.5 at 5-2. And that might work, with the sort of theory you're coming up with Man City getting ahead early on and Arsenal sort of losing momentum a little bit, possibly.
5-2 was your idea of a crazy pick, Baz?
You didn't ask us for a crazy pick, I don't think. You just said make some bigger priced picks. You do, Malcolm. I'll pick winners. That's fine.
All right. Yeah, okay. Brentford take on Newcastle United. Brentford 21-10, plus 210. The draw 13-5, plus 260. Newcastle 5-4, plus 120. Baz.
Yeah, so Brentford have had a bit of improvement in form. They've just 1 defeat in 5, but a lot of that's been away from home as opposed to at home. At home, they've only got 1 win in 7. Win over Sheff Utd as well, and we know those don't count. They've drawn 4 of the last 5 home games as well, so lots of draws in there. Still a big game for Newcastle, bigger than it is for Brentford. A win keeps Newcastle's European hopes alive. That doesn't necessarily mean it'll happen. There's been similar at stake against Brighton and Man Utd, and Newcastle weren't good enough to win in either of those. Did create enough chances yesterday, and I hope we might be a bit stronger in terms of our lineup. I'd like to see Pope, Shaw, Joelinton all back in the squad this week, hopefully, or back in the starting 11, I should say. Maybe even Barnes, Wilson might be back as well. I've decided, though, I just don't know what I'm going to get with Newcastle from one week to the next. So it was a swerve of the money line picks and a move into the stats market. And one thing I've noticed in recent games with Newcastle, and it hasn't been evident throughout the whole season, we were really all over this last season when it was going well, was the Newcastle team corners. But it's started picking up again in recent games. They had 9 yesterday. They had 8 at the weekend. They had 11 last week. So some good form for Newcastle corners. We are attacking still plenty. We're creating enough chances. We had 16 not that long ago against Spurs, 16 in one game. So with a lot on the line here for Newcastle, I'm jumping on the team total corners. Newcastle corners, 6 or more at evens, I think is a great price. 6 is a very low starting point for this. So my main pick will be 6 or more Newcastle corners at evens. And staying on the same theme, I'll be pushing. I'm going for 9 or more. It's 6-1. Same on the corners. And I'll come back to that. There'll be a ladder and way of playing this as well. I'll come back to that a bit later. But that 9 corners is hitting 2 of the last 3 for Newcastle. At 6-1, it looks okay.
Brentford had a good win last week at Bournemouth. They haven't got anything to play for yet. There's no patterns in the play. They haven't played a decent team in ages. All right, maybe Bournemouth, actually, if you want to count them. They haven't played sort of a top 6-7 team in ages. And the suspicion remains that they're not very good. Newcastle did more than enough to win last night. They absolutely did. Poor, like I say, a little bit of poor defending, some poor finishing. They should get Shaw back. It was really frustrating night for Newcastle. I think they've got enough to beat Brentford here, Baz. And you know I don't normally do this at all, but my main play is just going to be Newcastle to win. I think we'll have to win. We'll force the issue. I think they can win at 5-4 plus 120. And for my bigger price play, Baz, you mentioned him, Joe Linton coming back in. Sean Longstaff went off. I mean, Abbey can lift his legs up at the minute. Longstaff, he's played just about every minute of every game. I was surprised Joe Linton didn't start last week, so hopefully he's shaken off the rust just enough. And Joe Linton can score goals. He can get amongst it. Joe Linton to score twice here is 22-1. Yeah, that's a nice price. Big Joe. I mean, he's big, angry. He can. I think he scored a couple at Brentford last year. He scored a big thumping header and curled one in from the corner of the box. So he's got a bit of previous as well. So let's take Big Joe to notch twice at 22-1. Next game is Brighton against Manchester United. Brighton are 11-10 plus 110. The draw 3-1. Manchester United are 2-1. Brighton weren't very good again last night. I saw them last week in person. I didn't think they were very good. Scored a goal very late on in that game against 10 men. Scored a set piece at St James's Park, but being absolutely shot shy before that at all. I mean, I don't know what to make of Man United. I thought they were still shite last night. Yeah. And it's really was more Newcastle's failings and like you say, what always happens is we always go there and get beat. So even if Man United need to go and win, it doesn't mean that they can. That win last night was completely out of the blue, and I'm not sure it was deserved. The prices here, because we've talked about goals. The under 2.5 goals here is absolutely gigantic, Barry. Brighton can defend properly. They haven't been conceding many goals, but they just don't score. The under 2.5 is 12-5 at plus 240. I think the over's like minus 300. And there's nothing really that says... I mean, Man United started without a striker last night. They never looked like scoring until they were gifted a goal. Yeah, the under 2.5 is just far too big at plus 240. And for my big old price bars, under 2.5, under 1.5, under half. The answer is the 0-0 draw, Barry. This is the 0-0 draw of the week. 28-1, Brighton 0, Manchester United 0.
What a ridiculous piece of handicapping that was. I'll go totally flying in the face of that, Malcolm, and throw out some goals and see who picks a winner. Here we go. I think, as you see, Man United win last night doesn't do much for me in terms of wanting to back them, because I didn't think... I've wrote down exactly the same as you. I think we lost the game through our own performance rather than as them playing particularly well. I did think Bruno Fernandes was good. He made the difference last night. And Ahmad had a good game for them. But other than that, the rest were the same usual shite, to be honest. We did enough to beat them. And we created enough that we should have beat them on another day. But as you say, trip to Old Trafford, we've seen it all before. No big surprises for us. But I think, despite them not being in great form, Brighton, I think they've got a decent chance of taking some points here. They have lost 3 of the last 4 home games, but that was against Chelsea, who are in banging form now, City and Arsenal. So they played 3 of the form teams in the league in that little run. They did pick up a very good win against Villa in amongst those. But prior to that tough little run, recently, the home form was pretty solid, and I think they've got the players to cause Man United problems. I think anyone can cause Man United problems at the back. We saw last night how easy it was to create chances, just whether you can take them. But ultimately, I thought evens was a little bit tight to take Brighton. I thought they're a bit too short for me. I don't want Man United either at 2-1. They've not won away from Old Trafford in 6 games now. But 5 of those 6 away games for Man United have gone over 3.5 goals. And I'm not taking an unders pick in this game. On the final day where we're sort of talking up all the goals. I know I've taken an unders in the Arsenal game as a bit of a daft one. But for me, I think it'll be full of goals. Brighton games haven't. You've mentioned that's gone a little bit out of Brighton's game lately. They can defend. But remember early in the season, Brighton, games were full of goals. Over 3.5 were hitting every week. Both teams to score every week. And as I say, Man United are in that sort of form at the moment where they'll concede every game, but there's goals at both ends. So the pick for me is over 3.5 goals between Brighton and Man United at 4-5. There's a short price. And my little long shot, well, it's not a long shot. I'm not going to call them long shots anymore because they're just...
Yeah, you need to get out of there, Baz.
My alternative pick for this game, because if there's one thing Man United will do well, it's concede shots and it's concede corners. So Brighton 20 or more shots and Brighton over 6 corners, 3-1 double.
Oh, Jesus. Take the handbrake off, Baz. So what are we? Burnley take on Nottingham Forest next up. Burnley are 19-10 plus 190. The draw is 5-2 plus 250. Forest 23-17 plus 135, Baz.
Yeah, this one isn't pretty, is it? Burnley just can't win a game. They can score, but they can't win. So you can't back Burnley. But then Forest don't win many either. 2 wins in 12 league games for Forest, I think. And nothing at stake anymore. They've saved themselves. They're staying up. And I just find it hard really to make a case either way for a team winning. Nothing really jumped out in the prices. It was one way if I'd opened it up and seen a big price about one of these, I might have jumped in, but it didn't fall that way. So I thought about the goals markets. As I say, Burnley will always score. Forest will always concede. So that's a decent place to start. Forest have had no clean sheet in 12 games. I think Burnley have only failed to score in 1 of their last 10. So I did think about Burnley to score 2 or more to try and get to evens, but I expected it to be a bit bigger than that. I thought it'd be a good plus money price. It's bang on evens. They have done it in 4 of their last 10, but only once in the last 6. Not often enough. So anyway, I've moved to a shorter price. It is a short one, this one. It's both teams to score and over 2.5. I think one of these sides will nick it 2-1, but I just don't know who. So it'll be both teams to score and over 2.5 between Burnley and Forest at a price of 8-11. You like this one? I've got a little bit of a bigger pick for you as my alternative. I've gone for a cards pick. I've got a choice or a double, so you can play it how you like. I like Cullen for a card for Burnley. He's had a yellow in 4 of his last 8 games. He's 11-2 for a card. And I like Gibbs White. He's had 3 in his last 6, and he's also 11-2. So take one or take the other, or take your double, 35-1 for Cullen and Gibbs White.
Yes.
Cards double.
That's better, Baz. We launch into that. Burnley continued to play well last week. They were good at Tottenham. A little bit unlucky to get beat. The only bad performance they've thrown in 8 or 9 games is that Newcastle one. So that they are down now. Forest eventually secured the safety and have been doing okay, but the pressure's off now. So really, there's nothing to play for here, which makes I think Burnley alive at home. They'll want to go out, give the supporters something. Forest just won't give a shit in this situation at all. So my pick's going to be Burnley, Baz, at 19-10 plus 190. And you were nearly right, Baz. You said someone's going to win 2-1, but you don't know who. Somebody's going to win 3-2, but I don't know who. So the pick here, Baz, 3-2 Burnley is 25-1, or 3-2 Forest is 20-1. So split your stakes between them. Someone is going to nick this by 3-2, Baz.
What price for the double?
From them two. Yeah, not happening. Game time is back. Game time. The ticket people, tickets for cheese. Game time is an authorised ticket marketplace now for Major League Baseball, which is good. I'm going to baseball in London next month, so you can get your tickets for that. On game time, prices on the app go down as you get closer to the first pitch. You've got killer last-minute deals, easy to find and buy. You get views from all seats in the venue, low price guarantees, and the game time guarantee credits you 110% of the difference if you find the seats cheaper anywhere, same row, section, etc. So you can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account and redeem the code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Chelsea taking on Bournemouth. Chelsea are 1-2, minus 200. The draw 7-2, plus 350. And Bournemouth are 5-1. This is me to lead off in it, but so yeah, Chelsea won again last night. Another good performance, fairly comfortably. Reece James got sent off, and Brighton got one back later on, but that was pretty much it. Bournemouth had a bad result last week against Brentford. Now 3 defeats in 5, even though they had been going along. And what I did notice against Bournemouth, particularly, Baz, was their record against the top 7, which so far is 1 win, which I think was against Newcastle, actually, at their place, 3 draws and 9 defeats. 8 of those 9 defeats, Barry, have been by more than 1 goal. Chelsea have still got things to play for. They'll want to go out, and they're just playing with a shit ton of freedom at the minute. A lot of their good players are going well. I think they'll smash them here. Chelsea absolutely could beat up Bournemouth. Chelsea on the handicap's 11-10. It's plus 110. I think it's an excellent price. Therefore, my bigger price play ties into that. I actually had Mudryk to score 2 or more, but I noticed he didn't play last night, and I've just checked and he's ruled out. So I have pivoted to Madueke, same price, 14-1 for Madueke to get 2 or more. Chelsea could run up a score here. Madueke's been really good recently and should get a game now that there's going to be no Mudryk. That opens it up for him. So I'll take Chelsea on the handicap and Madueke to get a couple at 14-1. But
thought we were almost going to be bang on consensus here, but we're close anyway. I think you have to stick with Chelsea. Just 1 defeat in 14 league games. And coming into this one with 4 wins on the bounce. Bournemouth, on the other hand, just 2 wins in 7. They've lost 2 in a row, lost 3 of the last 4 on the road. And as you say, they haven't got good form against the big sides at all. They've been very streaky, and those streaks have all come around sort of fixtures against the lower teams. I wanted a piece of Chelsea. Came down to 2 choices. Do you want Chelsea to win by 2 or more, or Chelsea to score 3 or more? Each of them have hit in 3 of the last 4, but the handicap was a slightly bigger price. I agree with you. It's a good price. Main pick for me is Chelsea minus 1.5 handicap at 11-10. And my alternative pick here is Nicholas Jackson to score 2 or more at 6-1. I agree. I think there could be a few goals in this one. Jackson's back to a bit of form, scored 4 in his last 3, including a double against West Ham in midweek. So I'll go with Nicholas Jackson, 2 or more goals.
Next up, Crystal Palace taking on Aston Villa. Palace are 5-6, minus 120. The draw is 29-10, plus 290. Villa 14-5, plus 280. Just checking, there must have been a little bit of line movement on this. Palace is still 13-15. So around about that 5-6 mark still. The draw's actually drifted to 100-30. And Villa are out at 13-5, plus 260. So after that Tottenham result with Villa being said, Villa have drifted by around about half a point, Baz.
Yeah, they've drifted obviously due to having no longer having anything to play for. But I still think Palace's price is reasonable enough in the circumstances. I mean, I like Palace here, and it's a lot of it comes down. I think if Villa was still playing for that 4th place, it would probably be a different matter in terms of how I looked at it. But they're now locked into 4th. They had their awards ceremony the other day. You've seen them all popping the champagne and everything as Man City beat Spurs. So you wonder how much they care about this and whether they might make a few changes. Nothing matters anymore, so they might bring in a few of the fringe players. Whereas Palace, I think, will want to keep pushing. They've finished really strongly, and they're pushing. They can have a top 10 finish potentially, which would be a hell of an achievement for them, considering how far back they've come from. But regardless of who's got what to play for, they're just in fantastic form. They're unbeaten in 6. They've won 5 of the 6. They've beaten Newcastle, Liverpool, Man United in recent weeks. There's no reason why they can't beat Villa here, with Villa not particularly caring. Villa stuttered a bit as well over the recent weeks. They've won only 2 of their last 6. Again, doesn't matter. Fantastic finish for them. Just give me Palace to beat Villa, 17-20. It's a little bit short, but it's the circumstances. But I still think Palace to beat Villa at 17-20 is a reasonable price. And as an alternative, I'll take Palace to win to 0. It won't correlate with something I come up with later. But Palace to win to 0 at 7-2. They've just won the last 2 home games to 0 against Newcastle and Man Utd. Was Newcastle? Yeah. And Villa have just failed to score in the last 2 away games as well. So there's a little bit of an alternative. 7-2 for Palace to win to 0 against Villa.
Don't worry about shit correlating, Bars. None of mine is tonight. I completely agree with the Palace pick. I think they're a fine price. Villa absolutely would not give a shit about this game. And the Palace lads are clearly enjoying themselves, those players, and they'll go out and just want to play some good football, score some goals again. My bigger priced one, last goal scorer, Mark Gahey, 28-1, Baz. Nice story. He's been injured the majority of the season. Came off the bench the other night against Manchester United, got a rave reception. He's one of their best players. Don't know if he'll start, which is why I haven't gone first goal. I'm not stupid, Baz. I've gone last goal at 28-1. So he'll come off the bench. Villa will be just lying around the penalty area, smoking cigars. Someone will swing a corner in, and Mark Gahey, bullet header, 28-1. If you're not as confident as me, 10-1 any time, Mark Gahey. If he scores the 6th, then it's 7-0 win. You'll be absolutely furious. So take him any time at 10-1, just to cover your back there. Liverpool taking on Wolverhampton Wanderers is our next one. Liverpool are 2-11, minus 555. The draw 6-1. Wolves are 14-1. The only angle into this one, with both teams having nothing to play for, is Klopp's last game. So luckily, we won't have to deal with any of that shit on the telly. Absolute sycophantic tripe. So Wolves have given up, I think, pretty much. They've had some injuries. They've had a load of VAR stuff. They haven't enjoyed the last few months at all, Wolves. And this is a terrible spot for them. The goals prices in this game are absolutely bonkers, Barry. Like over 6.5 goals is 11-2. Plus 550 for over 6.5 goals. So there was no angles in there at all. I found one, Baz. And this is the total goal minutes. Now, we had this. I picked this on the first day of the season. Brighton against Luton in hit. I don't think I've picked one since. So I'm bookending the season with the total goal minutes. So this is available on Bet365. I don't know any other books that you might use, especially in the States or Canada. But you just add up the minutes of when they scored. So we're assuming there's going to be tons of goals, Baz. So the total's 205 minutes. So we're going over, which is 11-10 plus 110. So 4 goals at 52 minutes on average, they'll get you over there. Or 5 goals, average 41 minutes. Piece of piss, this, Baz, isn't it? Money in the bank. Absolute great pick. I'm over the moon with this. A slightly bigger one, and it's not that fancy, actually. Early blitz on the goals. Over 3.5 first half goals, Barry. Liverpool going at half time 4-0 up or 3-1. 7-1, Baz, is for over 3.5 first half goals. There you go.
Well, your first pick correlates nicely for me. If mine comes in, you should win, which is good. First thing for me here, I think Liverpool are a horrible price at 2-11. They've won 3 of the last 9 in all competitions and won just 2 of the last 6 in the league. I think 2-11 absolutely stinks. They've lost to Palace, they've lost to Everton, they failed to beat West Ham, Villa. I think if it was anything but the final day of the season at Anfield, Klopp's last game, that's what puts me off taking them on at that price. But I think 2-11 is horrible for this current Liverpool team in their current form. I mean, the other big problem with taking them on is it's Wolves, who have 1 win in 10 and 7 defeats in the last 10. You said they've pretty much packed up now. So it is hard to make a case for Wolves. You've mentioned the whole narrative around Klopp here as well. And I do think Liverpool will win. I just don't think they offer value at 2-11 necessary. So like you, I went to the goals market and was a little bit shocked at what I saw. So you've got to go a little bit creative with it. I found something, and it might be a bit of a stretch, but it has hit in the last 3 Liverpool games, and it's second half goals for me, which will work perfectly for your goal minutes. I'm going for over 2.5 goals in the second half at 5-4. Liverpool games have just seen 3-4-3 in the last 3 games. So the pick for me is Liverpool versus Wolves over 2.5 second half goals at 5-4. I just feel it might possibly turn into a bit of a procession later on with Anfield getting all excited and all that sort of thing. And the bigger pick for me, slightly bigger pick, is the Liverpool shots. 29 or more I'm going for to push it a bit higher than the sort of break-even point. They've hit 29 or more in 3 of the last 6 home games, and you can get 7-2 for Liverpool to have 29 or more. This could be a game where it's an absolute shootout, potentially, or all in one direction, I should say. But yeah, Liverpool shots 29 or more at 7-2, I'll take as well.
So we've got over 3.5 first half goals and over 3.5 second half goals.
I went over 2.5. Mine's an over 2.5 in the second half.
All right, okay. So we're only up to South. I thought we'd gone for the 8-goal thriller there. 7 goals then would be another way of betting that one.
We'll see, Malcolm. Last season, Liverpool versus Southampton was the 8-goal thriller. You might remember it was 4-4. Do you want to know how many of the goals came in the first half?
5.
4.
1.
How many in the second half? 4. So, and that was against Southampton, who were relegated at the time. So you never know. It was the 8-goal thriller last year in a Liverpool game. It could be there again.
Yeah, correct to point that out, Baz. Luton Town take on Fulham. Luton's farewell to the Premier League. They are 7-4. The draw is 29-10 plus 290. Fulham 13-10 plus 130. Barry.
I mean, Fulham are in poor form. They've finished the season poorly, just 1 win in 8. But even that poor form from Fulham is a lot better than the form Luton find themselves in. Their form line is just a complete sea of red. They've lost 6 of their last 8. They've won just 1 of the last 14. So whilst Fulham aren't going great, I'm happy to take them at 6-5 here. But then, yeah, I mean, that's my main pick. I've gone Fulham 6-5. But then where was I going to go for something a bit more different? And it was hard, really. There's nothing jumped out to me on the stats, on the goals. So I went for Fulham to win from behind at 6-1. So I think that does correlate, which is good. I think Fulham will win. And Luton always score in games. So I'm just hoping Luton will get the first goal and Fulham can come from behind. So second pick for me in this game will be Fulham to come from behind to win at 6-1.
Yeah, I think Fulham are going to absolutely ban Jackson here, Baz. I think Luton are not very good and have kind of given up a little bit. Fulham could have a right good go. My main play is Fulham to win, same as you, 13-10 plus 130. But I don't think Fulham are going to stuff them. So my bigger pick, I've got Fulham to win by 3 or more. Is 17-2 plus 850. I think Fulham could do them in 4-1 or 5-1 here. This game's going to help when we get to the goals, the total goals, because there's 5 or 6 here, lots of them for Fulham. So Fulham to win by 3 or more, 17-2 plus 850. Next is the one that will crown the title winners one way or another. Manchester City taking on West Ham United. Man City 1-10 minus 1,000. The draw 17-2 plus 850. West Ham 20-1. It is very hard to see anything but Manchester City winning comfortably. The only thing that, like in my head, when I was handicapping this, Baz, was the last 2 times they needed to win at home to win the league. And that QPR game, I mean, there's people in the chat haven't even heard of QPR. But in my head, it was about 2 years ago. It was fucking hell. It was like 2010 or something, wasn't it? When was it? It was ages ago. They were the Aguero game. But Manchester City needed to win against QPR, who were relegated. And QPR were 2-1 up really late. And Man City had to score 2 late goals to beat them. And then Was it last season? Was it just last year when they were 2-0 down against Villa? Or the
Was
year
that
before?
last year or was it 2 years? I think it might have been 2 years ago.
It was the day of the Euro women's final, I think.
Man City had the league already won last year. They lost to Brentford on the last day.
No, that's right. Yeah,
it was the year before.
But they were 2-0 down at home to Villa, who were very much a mid-table team at that team, and Man City had come back and win 3-2. I mean, that really's got no bearing on this whatsoever. It's Moyes' last game for West Ham, so will they try? Even if they do, does it matter? I'm calling a City clean sheet here, Baz. City to win to 0. So City to win with both teams to score no. It's a nice price, you know, Baz. It's 9-10, minus 111. And Cree in the chat, though, just earlier on, said he wants to take West Ham +3 because he thinks City will get ahead and then just play keep ball. And so do I. So my bigger play here, I was going to take Man City to win 1-0. It's 16-1. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to win 2-0 at 9-1. I don't think it's going to be a cricket score. I don't think it has to be. They'll get the noses in front and they will just keep the ball. If that happens in play after about 75 minutes, stick a tenner on the 3-0. But yeah, Man City will win this 2-0, Baz, at 9-1.
Well, they won't, but anyway, you can have it. Just another big losing long shot for you to go with your other 9. I think nobody's given West Ham a chance here, much like nobody really give Spurs a chance. And very similar to Spurs, I suspect most West Ham fans don't want to win here because none of the West Ham fans want Arsenal to win the league either. Turns out, Malcolm, nobody wants Arsenal to win the league. I don't know what
that's true. Nobody.
Good. But at 1-12 City, it makes everything a bit of a challenge. I'm not going too much in, but we all know what City are. We all know what's at stake. And we all know West Ham have been crumbling recently. And it's a pick with decent enough form for me. And it goes against what you've just said. It's a bit of a stretch again, but City have scored 4 or more in their last 3 home games, I think it is. 3 games at home. Wolves, Luton, Villa all took a battering at the Etihad. And West Ham have conceded 15 in the last 4 away from home. 5, 5, 4, and 1. Chelsea, Newcastle, Palace all put 4 past West Ham. So City to score 4 for me. They're doing it often enough at home, and I think they will keep their foot on the gas. I think they'll wipe the floor with them. 4 or more City goals is where I've gone. And for an alternative pick, I went for Areola saves over 6.5 at 4-1.
That's a lot. Right, okay. Final game on the card. We're doing well here, Baz. Sheffield United take on Tottenham Hotspur. Sheffield United are 6-1. The draw is 17-4 plus 425. Tottenham 9-25 minus 277. Baz, finish us off with a winner.
I mean, first thought is Spurs are hard to back at the moment. 5 defeats in the last 6 games. But this is Sheffield United. And the only team that Spurs have beaten in that little run recently was Burnley, another one of the relegated teams. And Sheffield United have just lost 6 in a row. They've lost 7 of the last 10. And they've just found this entire season a massive struggle. So I think Spurs will win it. And 5 of the last 6 defeats for Sheffield United have come by 2 or more goals. So I'm taking Spurs on the handicap here. I've got Spurs minus 1.5 on the handicap at 5-6. As I say, I just think Sheffield United are getting beaten by a couple of goals off everyone at the moment. So yeah, I'll take Spurs minus 1.5 on the handicap at 5-6. And my sort of alternative pick, it's not a long shot, is Bentancur to score any time. I like the look of him when he came on the other day. He started the season well. He was good last year. He had a little bit of a sort of barren spell, really, in front of goal. But he looked good when he came on against City. He looked a threat for them. He only played 35 minutes. He had 3 shots on goal and 2 of them were on target. 4-1 for Bentancur anytime, I think, is a good price. I like him as a scorer.
Okay. I mean, the key to me is how will Tottenham react to what happened the other night? Because, well, how will Ange react? What teams are you going to pick? Will they go for it? Will they down tools? If they lost him, got him? It's a really mad one to try and handicap this. I love there's a pick here that I love, but this is never a good say. I'm confident about all of these picks. But Tottenham are very, very wobbly, very shaky. Sheffield United to win either half is 9-4 plus 225. You could see maybe Sheffield United going in 1-0 up and then Tottenham turn it round and won 4-1. I think Tottenham knocked over Leeds on the back end of the last day last season. Leeds needed a win to stay up. And Tottenham just went and rolled them over 4-1. Or Tottenham could be well and truly ahead. And Sheffield United could go and win the second half 1-0 when everyone's down tools at the back end. It could be a topsy-turvy game, Baz. So Sheffield United to win either half, 9-4, plus 225. I've got two big prices here, Baz. You can choose. Do you want pick A or pick B, Barry?
Pick B.
Pick B. Sheffield United to miss a penalty at 20-1. Right. I don't even know why I wrote that down. There's no science behind that, but it's written down here. Therefore, it's a winner. You can have pick A as well. 3-3, 33-1, Baz. There you go. So I think that's it. Christ, there's some great winner. 40 winners we've just given you there, Baz. I think, unless there's some uncorrelated stuff.
I think there are some things that can't happen in tandem with each other. You've picked the unders in a game where I've gone over 3.5. Yeah. So maybe not 40 winning picks. You've got at least 37, 38.
36 or 37 winning picks. That's pretty good, that, you know. For 52 minutes for us to have given out 37 winning picks might be a world record, Baz. So, however, we're not done there, Baz. So, the match, we've got some mad stuff here. Dog, Aka. I've got Dog, Aka. I've got loads of stuff. Last year, Baz, slightly underwhelming. 33 goals last year.
It was, yeah.
3.3 goals per game. And that included that 4-4 Southampton v Liverpool. 6 of the 10 games went over 2.5, Barry. 7 of the 10 games went both to score. So I think the first thing to give out is those two Akas, because we've been trying to get them all season. Patrick/Courtney, I think it was Patrick in the chat earlier on, saying the over 2.5 Aka is 18-1. So all 10 games to finish over 2.5 goals is 18-1, which is quite skinny. But all 20 teams to score is 60-1. That's a nice price. There's goals all over the place here, Baz. And one other full card Aka that I really like, Barry, is a first half goal in every game is 5-1. When the games start, you've got your alerts going on your phone. Great fun bet to start counting them up. So first half goal in every game at 5-1. So there's a couple of players there, Baz. My underdog will be Burnley. I think they've got a good chance of turning over Forest. My anytime goal scorer is Muniz for Fulham. I've said Fulham are going to score a ton of goals. Muniz is 11-2 and 13-8 to score any time. And my Aka is Palace, Fulham, and Chelsea on the money line. It's 11-2 plus 550. I've got my big one, and I've got one other bet to come in a bit, Baz. But throw us out some of your stuff.
Yeah, so the underdog, really, there wasn't a lot jumped out in terms of underdogs. But like you, I think if you're looking for one, I wanted to look at a game which had nothing riding on it at all, where the underdog has a live chance. So Burnley to beat Forest was my underdog pick as well, purely because it just doesn't matter anymore. So yeah, Burnley on another day in a different situation. Villa as an underdog against Palace might have been tempting, but the fact Villa have got nothing to play for doesn't appeal. For me, scorers, I went for a treble this time rather than just the one scorer. I've got 3 for you. Anthony Gordon to score anytime. Mateta to score anytime. And Nicholas Jackson anytime. 14-1 treble on the scorers there. Cards, we're going to have a cards treble as well. We're going to go for Big Daft Amrabat at Man United. Sander Berge. What are you laughing at? Sander Berge.
I don't think the Big Daft is first aid, is it?
Should have got a couple last night. Sander Berge for Burnley and Douglas Luiz for Villa. So cards treble, Amrabat, Berge and Douglas Luiz. That's 105-1 for the treble. All to get a card. Or take the doubles as well. Take doubles and you'll get a 25-1 shot if we hit 2 of those. If Amrabat doesn't start for any reason. Swap him for Casemiro because he's daft as well. So we'll go with Amrabat first choice. But if he doesn't start for whatever reason, switch, pivot. Casemiro, easy. Anyway, you've mentioned the all over 2.5s, 20-1, but it's the final day, so you've got to have a go on these sort of daft things. My Aka is a goals Aka, but I went for the over 3.5. You've got to push it this week. I've found the games with over 3.5 goals. That's Man City v West Ham. It's Brighton v Man United. You don't like that one. It's Liverpool v Wolves and Sheff United v Tottenham. So 7-1, over 3.5 Aka, Man City, West Ham, Brighton, Man United, Liverpool, Wolves, Sheff United, Tottenham. 7-1 Aka over 3.5. I'm going to let you jump in and then I'll finish off with my ladders and that's me done.
Right, okay. Just before we started, Barry was listening in as Bob made a bet and wants to throw that out. And do you know what? I quite like it, Baz. This is fucking terrifying. He's gone with Bournemouth, Chelsea over 3.5. Everton to score over half a goal. And Forest to score over 2.5 goals is his pick, which is 10-1. Yeah, I thought that as well. I pulled the same face as you. I was like, all right, you shrewd little bastard. Like I said, there's some fun markets here, Baz. Bet365 have got the team to score the most goals on Sunday, the highest scoring team this week. And I like Fulham, 28-1. So you can back each way 1, 2, 3. And I'm assuming dead heat rules apply because there could be a blanket finish here. But Fulham are 28-1 to score the most goals. And Sheffield United are 66-1 to score the most goals. They could bash 5. Tottenham could concede 5 to anyone, anytime. I don't even care if it is, especially the last day of a mad season when they might just give up. So Fulham at 28, Sheffield United 66s. And the one we've all been waiting for, 1,156-1 double, is Burnley and Forest to draw 3-3, with Sheffield United and Tottenham to draw 3-3. We're going for the 3-3 double. That pays 1,156-1, Bat.
Nice. I mean, you mentioned who can score 5. There's always a team scores 5 on the last day. Last year it was Arsenal. The year before it was Arsenal and Spurs, I think. The year before that was Man City. So Arsenal have done it last 2 final days. They've scored 5. So don't bet against Arsenal hitting 5 again. I looked around for where the game is going to be, the 7-8 goal thriller. And I've decided it's going to be Palace v Villa. So over 3.5 goals, Palace v Villa is over 3.5. Over 4.5 goals, 5-2. Over 5.5, 5-1. Over 6.5, 10-1. And it's going to be the 8-goal thriller, Palace v Villa, over 7.5 goals, 20-1. But my other ladder is a game that probably won't surprise anyone because I covered it earlier. Was Newcastle, team corners. 6 or more at evens. 7 or more at 2-1. 8 or more, 7-2. 9 or more, 6-1. 10 or more, 14-1. We'll finish at 11. 25-1 for 11 corners. Newcastle
with all
corners,
that,
I should say. That's Newcastle corner ladder, not match total, team total. Newcastle corner.
We might have just got up to 50 winners that we've just given out there then by the time we've added all that on. Guinness Book of Records, here we come. That's it, Baz. 59 minutes, I tell you what. Absolute, thoroughly professional young men we are, Baz. We've hit the timing right on the money, like Frankie Dettori in his prime. Anything you want to tell the people, Baz, before we let them go?
I'm probably going to go live on here, do a live stream before the kickoffs. I think you said you might not be available, but I'm hoping to jump on 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock UK time, and just do a little bit of pre-match. Maybe put a few bet builders, find out what everyone else is backing. So if you are around an hour before the games, jump on YouTube. I'll set up a live stream and we'll do that. Again, thanks to everyone who's dropped us reviews, subscribed, followed, all of that sort of stuff. We'll cover that a bit more in the end of season show. We'll no doubt have a few thanks to everybody. But other than that, not a lot. I have got a quiz question for you though, Malcolm.
Yeah, I'm good at quizzes. Is it about football?
No,
Cheese,
I've
got all of those
food.
subjects.
As always, I've got some food next to me.
Yeah.
Any guesses? It's a fruit or vegetable?
I think you've got to. Have you got a punnet of cherry tomatoes there, Baz?
No.
Do you not like tomatoes?
I don't mind tomatoes. I don't dislike them. I'm not offended.
Can I have another guess?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you that they're homegrown. I didn't grow them.
Ooh.
Somebody else grew them. I've inherited these.
Radishes.
I've got a bunch of them. Oh, he's nailed it. He's bloody nailed it. I've got a bunch of radishes. How did you get that? Look at that.
51 winners, Baz. There's another one. You can add that to the list.
Look at that. It looks like your nutsack after you went and saw that big Turkish bloke.
No. My nut was very much more like an overripe mango berry than a bunch of. Well, I like a radish, Baz. Do you know what? The radish is underrated.
I can't remember the last time I had a traditional radish like that. What are you going to do with them? Pickle them, maybe?
Well, obviously, you slice them up in a bit of salad and stuff. But do you know what? Whack them in a bolognese and that, Baz. Like, people just don't use them. You know what? You'd think nothing about slicing up a garlic or an onion, or a bit of celery even. It's the same shit. Get a radish in there.
Tell you what I have been, because I've got my bento box, so I'm all about the Asian cuisine these days. I do like a big daikon or mooli, which is a sort of Japanese or Asian style radish, but it's massive. It's like that. But I grate it up with some carrot and then pickle it, and it's really nice for a little bit of freshness on your salad or whatever you're having, you know.
There you go. Below average cooks come to life again in the chat. Now we're talking food. He's definitely an above average cook. I got some herbs going, Baz, from seed, which are now looking very good. I've got a couple of pots of coriander, some thyme, some basil, all going in the garden. And my bay tree, oh, mate, it's your size now. It started life my size. It's now your size. So the bay tree is going great guns. Like, that's what we'll do all summer when there's no football. We'll talk about eating stuff. Thanks, everyone.
One more thing. How do you think I'm spending my Friday night this week?
So is it something Ponzi?
No, it's bad. It's definitely not Ponzi. Like, I'm going to be in a field with 6 14-year-olds camping out.
Oh.
Chloe's birthday, so she wanted a sleepover with 6 of them, and I couldn't be bothered to have them in the house. So I was like, why don't you just camp? Go camp somewhere. Stick you in a field. You can't do any damage. So that's the plan. We're literally 10 minutes down the road, literally round the corner from where we live. There's a campsite. So I've got a big bell tent, a big yurt type thing for the kids to sleep in. I've got my little 2-man tent. I'll sleep down the other end of the field.
By yourself?
And I will. Well, Helen and Sophie are going to come along with us for the barbecue and what have you, and just see the kids are all right. And then when it gets to 10 o'clock, Helen and Sophie will come home and sleep in a nice, comfortable bed. And I'll just stay in my little 2-man tent as to officially supervise. But not sure about how fun tomorrow night's going to be. But anyway, because it's 10 minutes down the road, I can take my barbecue with us, and I'm doing a big chicken kebab, some steak, bit of everything going on. So we've got plenty of food going. I'll take a bottle of red wine and some cheese for later on. I'll just sit in my tent on my own with some wine and watch a film or something.
100% sounds like the start of a horror film, this, Baz.
You've
got Netflix documentary.
I mean, below average cook is saying in the chat, make some s'mores. We have got the digestive biscuits and the marshmallows. There will be a campfire going, so we have got s'mores on the menu as well.
Yeah, this is a Netflix documentary waiting to happen, Basil. In 5 years' time, we'll be watching When Big Men Go Missing on Netflix and raising a glass to our long-departed Barry, who went in a 2-man tent one night in Nottinghamshire and was never seen again. Champion, thanks, everyone. Go and say nice stuff in the comments or give us 5 stars and all that sort of shit. Enjoy Sunday. It's going to be fun. Let's cash at least 50 of these bets, and we'll be back to count up how many we actually cashed. Probably on Monday night, I reckon, because I'll be full of continental lager on Sunday. But until then, we will see you down the road. Cheers.